I just wanted to add this to the beginning of the video real quick to let you guys know that, yes, I agree with what most of you are probably going to say in response, is that at the end of the day, the games are what matters most when it comes to this, not power. And I 110% agree with that, and I'm fully behind that. But I just wanted to say this because I have these conversations and I make these videos because I do believe that regardless, this is a conversation that will continue to happen throughout the next year. And when we talk about the next-gen consoles, the power factor is always going to be something that people are interested in, that people talk about. It may not necessarily be the driving force at the end of the day, but again, it makes for interesting conversation, and it's just, nice to speculate about and speculate upon. So yes, the games do come first, and the games will ultimately be the determining factor for most people and which console they choose to buy. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know this at the beginning, so enjoy the video. So today's video is going to be all about the next generation consoles, and we are going to be once again talking about the power factor. Now, I've already established previously that I don't think the power factor is going to matter that much. At this point, after putting some more thought into it, after hearing what Microsoft has to say and hearing some more, whispers and mumblings from, people who are in the know about the PlayStation 5 and how it's going to be potentially significantly more powerful than the Xbox Scarlett. I don't know if it's going to be, significantly more powerful, but it really it starts to make me think that maybe pricing is going to be a bigger factor here than maybe some of us realize. We've been so focused on the power factor, and I've kind of established this idea or this mentality that, these consoles are pretty much going to be the same. So because of that, naturally, they're going to be the same price. But I'm starting to think that that might not be the case, depending on, based off of what we're hearing. So what am I talking about? Well, the first thing I want to bring up here is, this idea that the PlayStation 5 is more powerful than Xbox Scarlett. There's a little bit more evidence that I came across that, points to this, and it comes from Colin Moriarty's PlayStation podcast called Sacred Symbols. I do listen to it, and I listened to their podcast where they went over Microsoft's conference, and he did touch on something we touched on, which is that Andrew Reiner tweeted out during that time or right before their conference that he was hearing from developers that the PS5 is more powerful than Project Scarlett based off of the dev kits that they have. And this is something that's been really going around, and a lot of developers apparently have been saying this because Colin Moriarty also chimed in, and it was very subtle, but he did say that he's been hearing the same thing. Now, he doesn't know if he believes it, which is understandable. I mean, until we know for sure, none of us can believe anything for sure. These are just rumors. These developers cannot come out here and say, hey, this is my name and this is the developer I work for, the company I work for, let me tell you this info, because it'd get in a lot of trouble. So it is all rumor at the end of the day, but this is something that people who are on the inside, who are on the, in the know, in the loop, and know developers, this is what they're hearing. So I have to assume that both the Scarlett dev kits and the PS5 dev kits are out here if developers are saying this, because it would make no sense, in my opinion, for a developer to be coming out here and saying, oh yeah, the PS5 is more powerful if they don't have a Scarlett dev kit to compare it to. But we do have some interesting comments that come from Microsoft. I have something I can read from here, but I also have something that I heard. It was an interview with Phil Spencer where he was talking about this. And it's interesting because the thing that Phil Spencer said, and I'm just paraphrasing here, I'm not quoting him, is he basically said that they're not trying to not have the most powerful console. Right? Like, that's what he said. He said that they're basically, he confirmed that he doesn't, and obviously we have to take his word for it, he said that he doesn't know the PS5 specs. He doesn't have a PS5 dev kit, so he doesn't know. He doesn't have a PlayStation 5 for reference, and he's saying this because he's trying to point out that they are trying to build an extremely powerful console in Scarlett, but he can't say definitively if it's going to be the most powerful. He's basically saying that he hopes it will be, but he can't say for sure because he doesn't know for sure what Sony's doing. And so this really starts to make you think. Maybe all the pieces are coming into place here where maybe Sony is being a little bit more cutthroat here, where they're going to ensure that the PlayStation 5 is more powerful somehow, some way. Maybe Sony has information on Microsoft that Microsoft didn't think Sony would have. Maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. We do know that some corporate espionage does go on and happen behind the scenes. But I wanted to read a little bit from this article here. It says, Microsoft understands what a reasonable price point will be for Xbox Scarlett. So it goes on to say here that Microsoft's Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, has spoken recently about how the company is constantly thinking about what the price for Scarlett will be. But there are, of course, still concerns that if you want to get the best available Xbox hardware come holiday 2020, you're going to have to pony up a large sum of money. But Microsoft, it seems, remains confident that they have a solid understanding of what a reasonable price point for the Xbox Scarlett will be. We understand what reasonable price points are for a console and kind of what consumers expect about that, said Microsoft's partner director of program management, Jason Ronald, while speaking with Windows Central. At the same time, we are innovating, we are pushing the boundaries of some of this. We're not sharing any details on price or, more detailed specs at this point, but I will say that we're very confident in what we're building, something that will set a new bar for expectations of console gaming. So it's important to focus on that for a second. He's saying two things here, him and Phil Spencer. They're saying that they are trying to build the world's most powerful console, but they simply cannot call it that yet because they don't know exactly what their competition is going to offer. But they're also saying that they want to keep it at a reasonable price. Now, Michael Pachter, for anybody who takes him seriously, I don't, but he's an analyst. He recently went on record saying that he thinks that both Sony and Microsoft are going to attempt to launch these consoles at a $399 price point, not a $499 price point. That's important as well because a lot of us are assuming, based off of the tech that's going to be on offer here with both of these consoles, that a $499 price point is what both of these consoles are going to launch at. Now, maybe Microsoft is being a little bit deceptive here in a way. We have to understand that they still are in competition with Sony when it comes to the console space, as long as they're developing consoles and releasing them. And we've heard a lot of rumors about two different versions of Xbox Scarlett, the Scarlett family. We've heard about Lockhart and Anaconda. And basically the difference between these two consoles is, one, being Lockhart, was going to be the lower end console, the entry point console that would be more affordable, but would also be less powerful. The other one, Anaconda, was basically going to be the successor to the Xbox One X, more expensive but also significantly more powerful. And because of this, a lot of people were saying that naturally Anaconda is going to be significantly more powerful than whatever the PlayStation 5 is, but the price point may also reflect that, and the PS5 would essentially be right in the middle. And so a lot of people are saying this is a good strategy because Microsoft can hit them low and they can hit them high as well, and it leaves Sony right in the middle. But all signs at this point, as of right now, are pointing to Microsoft potentially shelving this idea, and that Microsoft plans to just do a single SKU, similarly to what we are expecting Sony to do. This is how it's always pretty much traditionally been done, at least usually, right? Like there hasn't ever really been consoles launching with a power, difference. We haven't really seen that. So what I'm trying to say here is that maybe Microsoft is not trying to build the most powerful console, regardless of what they're saying. Maybe they're saying one thing, but they're potentially trying to do another. And what I mean by this is maybe Microsoft is trying to find a way to offer a next-gen console that will be significantly more powerful, that will certainly be the most powerful console they've ever made, and will be more obviously much more capable than the Xbox One X, but they want to retain that $400 price point, and where maybe Sony is not necessarily focused on that. Maybe Sony is more focused on the power factor, and they want to get that back at the start of the next generation, and maybe they're going to end up launching their console at $500. Now, maybe I'm giving Microsoft too much credit here. That does seem like a very deceptive thing to do, because there's no denying that if the next Xbox launched $100 cheaper than the PlayStation 5, it would certainly be a surprise, and there's no doubt in my mind that that would help sell more Xboxes than we are anticipating. Now, would that mean that Xbox would suddenly sell more than PlayStation? Highly unlikely. I have a feeling that at this point, PlayStation could actually release a console that's $100 more, then the next Xbox, and more people are just going to go buy the next PlayStation because they know the games that are going to be on offer, especially most consumers, most gamers knowing that if they really want to access Microsoft's games, they're not just exclusive to the box, they can get them on other devices, to where with PlayStation, currently, you can't do that. So what this all comes down to is, if I had to give my 2 cents on which console I think is going to end up being more powerful, I think it's going to be the PlayStation 5, simply because I buy into the rumors. I buy into the rumors, and I subscribe to that idea because developers, what they're saying is probably the truth. If developers have their hands on both dev kits, again, I'm going to assume that both Xbox Scarlett dev kits and PS5 dev kits are out there currently because developers need to get their hands on these kits to be able to develop games for them. We know that these dev kits are significantly more powerful than what the final product will be, but regardless, those dev kits are a reflection of what we can expect to a degree from these final products. And so if these developers are coming out here saying that the PlayStation 5 is more powerful, it's going to be more powerful than Scarlett, excuse me, I believe that. I really do, especially when you have, they're relaying this information to people who, like Andrew Reiner and Colin Moriarty. I'm not here, I haven't heard anything, honestly, outside of Xbox, the people within Xbox, about Scarlett being the more powerful console. So some people will say, well, MBG, that doesn't make sense. If Xbox, or if you're hearing it officially from them that they're trying to build the most powerful console, wouldn't you simply say that they're going to have the most powerful console? No, because they're not definitively saying it. That's the difference. The developers are definitively saying that, yeah, the PS5 is going to be more powerful. Trust us. We're working with both. It's going to be more powerful. Microsoft, on the other hand, because Phil Spencer's saying he doesn't have a PS5 dev kit for obvious reasons, he's claiming that they don't know what Sony's doing, so they're not going to sit here and definitively say, which is a smart thing, mind you. I think it is smart of them to not say that, just like Sony isn't either. It wouldn't be a smart thing for either of these companies to be coming out here and saying, we are definitively going to have the most powerful console, because things could change between now and the release of these consoles. Although I would say that we are getting closer to this holiday 2020 release date, so I think by this point things kind of have to be locked in if they plan to have these things out in time. They have to think about mass production and all that, and it's going to be significant. So I don't know. I mean, if I had to say it, I think that the PS5 is going to be more powerful, because as of right now, all signs are pointing to that being the case. I think the Project Scarlett will be potentially, very right up there with it. And the big question is, what's the difference going to be? Is there going to be a difference in price? I don't know. I don't know. I really have no clue. I think both Sony and Microsoft are going to attempt to launch these consoles and sell them at a loss, so that way they can get more people out there upgrading to the next-gen consoles. But whether that's at $500 or $400, we don't know. Is one of these companies going to be willing to take a much bigger loss, like a $200 loss on these consoles? I don't know. Sony has shown before they're willing to do that, but so is Microsoft. So at this point, it's anybody's guess. I just wanted to make this video kind of updating you on some of the things that Phil Spencer's saying, some of the things from, some of the individuals who are working at Microsoft, what they're saying about their console, and some more whispers and rumblings we're hearing about the PS5 and its dev kit as well. So make of this what you will. At the end of the day, I don't think power is going to matter that much, but there's no doubt that it's going to be a very big talking point between the two of these consoles. Regardless of whether it matters to you or not, it's something that gamers and console owners and enthusiasts, it's something we're going to be talking about, and it's something that does play a certain role within all of this. So yeah, that does it for the video. I'm going to end it here. I don't want to make it too long. Let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. Appreciate all the support you guys have been showing me lately. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.